Welcome to selfdiscoverymedia.com, where we discover the communities that are making a difference in the lives of others. Our self-discovery is something we are all making on our life's journey. Here you will find the people that will be your guidance, that will be your inspiration, that will be there for you in support on your journey of life. Do enjoy. Our next show is... Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of Choose Positive Living, right here on selfdiscoverymedia.com. I'm your host, Sarah Troy, and my wonderful guest today is Christine Meyer. We're going to be talking about keeping it simple, Smartypants. She says, your life is as simple, as complex as you let it be. Your life is always as good as you allow it. So how are we not allowing it to happen, and why do we complex everything? She says, let's be honest, life can feel pretty random. When things go well, it's because you're managing, controlling them. But when one thing goes wrong, it seems like all goes out the window. So you try to do all the right things, like reading the self-help books, exercising, changing your diet, working harder, working smarter, having the tough conversations, and rambling that lucky pebble in your pocket, all in hopes of pulling the right levers and lining up the stars, fingers crossed, to get the life you want. Well, here's the truth. There is no right or wrong way to live your life. There is your way. Reality doesn't happen to you. It happens from you. You can give up the idea that you need or can control everything and start understanding that you create everything. Christine Meyer is a life coach and an author of Keep It Simple, Smartypants, Stop the Overthinking, Start Aligning, Live Happy. Since 2002, her mission has been to empower, educate, and uplift. She's coached unmistakable mavericks in the world to follow their own compass, to design and live the life they want through the understanding and mastery of the power of their thoughts, alignment of who they really are. She is a frequent podcast guest, founder member, and regular contributor to Forbes Coaches Council, and is excited to share the fundamental foundations offered to her private clients and first of her many books. So we are going to find out how we can be smarty pants. Welcome to the show, Christine.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. And everyone really is a smarty pants already. So
yeah. We don't know that though, do we? Because we're always looking for the answers on the outside and realizing that things on the outside can resonate and trigger things in the inside, but life is an inside out job. And the more we learn to tune into ourselves, the answers are always there, even if they may be just prompted or triggered from the outside, but it's the inside that has the connection.
I couldn't have said it better. you said it. You did.
So, how it's the how though, isn't it? Because, as you said, the self-help books, the this, the that, everything is pushing people, do it my way. And it's like, I think that whenever you put something out there and you've got a book out there, you're suggesting how you did it, what worked for you. But then just like if you're going to a buffet, you're not going to take every dish there. You're going to pick the ones that, this looks tasty. I want to try this and I want to try that. And it's got to resonate with you and feel like you can use this and not just be something, well, they're using it, so therefore I should. Does it resonate with you? That's the important question, isn't it?
It really is. And it isn't about there's a right or wrong way. There is a way that will resonate with you or won't resonate with you. And it really is about understanding what that resonance is and following your own prescribed rules, if you will, following your own guidance so that you can ultimately continue to do that inside job. And yes, to achieve outward things, because we are here as human beings experiencing life and wanting to experience the things that we can create because we are creators. And that's not the only reason why we're here. We are here to discover who we are through that integration of the non-physical experience, our soul, so that we can continually become that expanded version of ourselves. And it's not supposed to be a hard job. It's not supposed to be something that is unpleasant. Transformation and growth and expansion doesn't have to be hard, and it doesn't have to feel like struggle. But it is helpful to understand some foundations so that you understand how you are creating your reality and how you are rendezvousing with certain things or aspects of things in your life. Awareness is key, certainly, and the understanding and integration of how you do already have a relationship with your soul, what that means to you, and how you can interpret it through your emotions.
All very well said. The big word that comes to mind right now is allow. Right? It's we don't allow those inner feeling thoughts, not thinking thoughts, feeling thoughts to come to the forefront, because there is this conditioning on the outside, but it should be done this way. And if we, as I said, you know, we can see everything out there and go, that resonates with me, that doesn't, that's not for me. Your core soul, spirit, hearts combined together will let you know if it's right for you, if this is your path. But we don't allow that beautiful inner voice to guide us, because we're, again, looking for the external answers rather than the internal ones. The external answers, or that's an answer for someone else, I think, is purely an ignition of something within yourself, something for you to look at within yourself and connect with yourself. But the word allow comes to mind all the time. Do we allow it to happen?
And what is allowing? How can you tell if you're allowing or resisting? I think those are good distinctions to be made. And when you understand that you are energy, you are projecting energy outward, and your thoughts have attraction power. Then you add on to that the understanding or the inclusion of having a soul that is only energy. And your soul is communicating to you always as you lead the way with your desires. You lead the way with your assessment of your life and decide what you want, what you don't want, what you prefer, and what you don't prefer. Your soul says yes to all of those things, because your soul is not choosing for you what adventure you want in this lifetime. But it's helpful to understand that when you are viewing something, perceiving something, observing something, talking about something in a particular way, if you are in resonance with your true self, which means your soul, your combined blended self, then you will have feelings that feel good, positive emotions, not meaning they're better than any other emotions, but you will feel emotions that feel good, that feel positive. On the other hand, if you are perceiving things in your life and you're feeling bad, you're feeling negative emotion, again, that does not mean that those emotions are wrong or bad. It's simply a way to identify that they don't feel good. Then that lets you know how much you're allowing or not allowing. Negative emotion means you're on the side of the balance scale that is indicating to you that you're not allowing, you're not blending fully with your soul in this moment. And therefore, you are also standing in your own way of your desires. When you're feeling more on the positive end of emotions, that means you are more aligned, more in alignment. I use that word a lot in my vocabulary, and allowing more. And those are two really great ways to understand what you're in the process of creating, allowing or disallowing in this moment. And none of it is better or wrong or worse. It's simply embracing your emotions, seeing them as information, and then deciding what you want to do with the information that you're receiving. Because in a case where you're desiring something and you feel doubt is the indicator not that you can't have what you want, or that you're not worthy of it, or that you're incapable of it. Doubt is the indicator that right now you're thinking something in this moment that contradicts your desire.
Yes.
That is standing in your own way of what you want. So isn't that great information to have? And if you do desire something and you're excited or eager or even satisfied with where you are and anticipating what's coming next, then you are in that place of allowing. You are in alignment with your soul, and you are agreeing with the perspective of your soul. That's what that really means. And that's really important, because people feel, in your introduction that you read, people feel like life, a lot of people feel like life is random. And that is why, it's because they don't understand that relationship, and they don't understand what their emotions are telling them. They don't see things coming that they could have seen coming sooner had they been paying to how they were feeling and able to understand what those feelings mean.
I'm a firm believer, feel your knowledge to understand your thoughts. I'm a big knowingness advocate, and the knowingness for me is that comes through your soul, that divine wisdom that resonates with your heart. It goes into your spirit, into action, and your mind will know what it needs to know when it needs to know it. And I think very often we get caught up in the spiral of the what if, but should I, but what if that happens? And it's up into the thoughts, and we don't allow the soul, heart, and spirit to show us how we feel about it. And our feelings will always be, this feels right, this feels good, this feels in the right direction. And when it feels in the right direction, the right thoughts come to you of how to make it happen. But if we're caught up in the thoughts all the time of the what if, should I, we're not tuned in to that beautiful divine energy that is going to show us the right way and how to feel. So the head is full of beautiful knowledge, but the wisdom of how to use it, I feel needs to come through the heart and the soul to truly understand how you feel about it. What do you think to that?
And once you understand how you feel about it, then again, you have agency over how you feel about anything. And if you're proceeding forward with negative emotion, you are moving toward something you don't want, or else you are resisting something that you do want. And so when you are thinking thoughts, really the main thing I would love for your listeners to take from this is to just stop. When you're thinking thoughts that feel bad, understand that that's information that you can do something with. When you're thinking thoughts and that feel good and you're feeling good, that's information. Neither of them is good, better, or worse, as I already said, but it's information. And that is your opportunity to decide whether you want to keep thinking what you're thinking, or based on how it feels, or whether you want to choose something, a thought that feels slightly better than the one you were just thinking that felt, that you felt, you got the gut, you got the hit in the gut, or the tension in the chest, or the tension in your throat, right? You felt it, that doesn't feel good. People put way less importance on the feeling of their thoughts than because they don't know the exponential creation that comes from them.
Yes. I'm a firm believer that chaos is just the road to clarity. And very often we're in a turbulence because all of these things are coming to us or not coming to us, and in that tumultuousness that's going on is that we start picking out things. Oh, this will work, that will work, this feels good, this feels right, and then the calmness starts happening where the clarity starts happening. But I think to look at chaos as like an artist's first strokes, on the canvas, you look at it and go, what the hell are they doing? Until the picture starts revealing itself. And I think it's, don't be afraid of the chaos, because it is the experience, or it is within the chaos are the answers, if we're willing to see them.
Well, there's always expansion happening, isn't there? And so even if there's chaos, we don't even have to label it as such either. We can perceive chaos differently and see it as opportunity. We can see it as an invitation. We can see it as something's here for me to discover. There are all kinds of ways that we can perceive quote unquote chaos differently. We could see it as items on a menu when you go to the restaurant.
Which one do I choose?
Which one do I choose? That really is. And as a human being, you are here to create your reality. You are here to discover who you are. You are here creating you in the process of evaluating your life and living your life. And so there's always going to be something to choose from. You wouldn't want to go to a restaurant and always have one thing on the menu. You would want to go to the restaurant and have several items on the menu. How you perceive those things, how you handle those things, how you respond to those things is up to you. And it can feel random, and it can feel chaotic, and it can feel out of the blue, and it can feel like it's out of your control. And that's simply because you are being responded to with your thoughts. So if you have a habit of thinking in a particular way, it only makes sense that you will have a challenge to think differently, to think something that is out of your normal habit. But that's why it takes practice to decide, when I feel good, it's not bad or wrong. I want to keep plugging that in, because sometimes people interpret that to mean, oh, so we just need to avoid negative emotion, or it's bad, or I shouldn't have it. And that's not the point. Embrace all of your emotions. Just decide how long you're going to hang around in there. Right. That is also more in your charge than, again, most people understand that it is. Does it feel hard sometimes? Does it feel like effort to feel bad about something and say, well, all right, that's my indicator that I'm out of alignment in some way. I'm perceiving this situation in a way that's different from my soul. And this is what I would do. And I would ask myself, all right, would I like to feel better? Yes, I would. And processing the emotion is not about going and digging deeper and figuring out where it came from and how long I've had it and why I'm feeling this. Processing an emotion really is more about understanding that you can feel better and doing something about it.
Right.
Navigating yourself to a better feeling thought or another subject that you do feel better on first. Because the point, why would I bother doing that? Why would I bother doing that? Well, because your point of attraction is always about how you feel. How you feel indicates what your point of attraction is. So if you want things to improve, if you want things to keep getting better, even if they're amazing, how you feel lets you know what you're in the process of moving toward. It's like, if you want a cheese sandwich, you're not going to go and make a bologna sandwich. Right. Yeah. So you have to understand, that's how you get to understand whether you're making the sandwich that you want to be making, or whether you're making the sandwich that you don't really like and don't really want. And if more people would more consistently, and some people don't like that word consistently, and I want to come back to that. If more people would more consistently decide to think the thought, think about things, do things that feel better, then they would be experiencing more and more and more and more of what they want.
That's just the internal navigation will be drawn towards it.
The internal, it has to start with the internal navigation, which then only draws, it's like a billboard advertisement. Once you start doing the internal navigation and make a conscious decision to decide to feel better, not because feeling bad is wrong. It's more that you're here, your most powerful point of power is now. It's now, and that's all you've got, and it takes practice. So that's why I said consistently, because if you're kind of all over the place on a subject and you think I want it, or I thought of this, but I can't do that. I want it, but if you have a whole bunch of buts in
I would say sit on your butt. That's the only place
in that equation, then you're going to experience the effect of something that feels like stuck. So like, maybe I'm not worthy of it, like I don't deserve it, like I can't do this, like I must be doing something wrong. When you're not doing something wrong, you just have to stop the contradiction.
Yes, to everything that you've just said, my terminology, on it is that our emotions come up for a reason. Sad, glad, happy, whatever. It's indicating a reaction to something happening, and acknowledge that reaction. And, if you don't like that reaction, change the channel. Change the channel to a different emotion. One of the issues that we're inclined to do is become emotional about the emotion and get stuck about it. I'm mad.
Right.
Why am I mad? What am I mad about? Should I be mad about? And then we get caught up in that spiral and saying, I'm mad. Okay, that person cut me off. All right, I'm mad. All right, spend the emotion. And now turn the channel.
Mhm.
I don't like this feeling of mad because it hurts my chest. It hurts my being. I feel tense. Everything about it is not working for me. Change the channel. What's going to make me feel better? Put on some music, watch a puppy dog play, do something that is going to change your channel, because now you're what you feed and what you seed, what you water, what you feed, just what's going to grow. So we're going to have those emotions along the line. They're going to be there. It's how we handle them and what we do with them that really counts.
Absolutely. And again, to everything that you said, and we are in charge of that.
Yeah.
We are in charge of that. And it takes practice. It takes practice to respond differently to situation. It takes practice to not blame other people. It
That's
takes
the point,
practice. It takes practice to take ownership of your point of attraction.
Mm.
Because nothing is random. Everything is responding to you. You are the center of your universe.
Yeah, you are.
You are. So everything is constantly revolving around you and coming from you to you in that sense. So it is about understanding your emotions, being aware that you're having an emotional response. Again, people get very used to feeling a particular way, and they don't really realize or recognize that they're having, you and I and everyone else in the world are having emotional responses all day long, every day about things.
Yes.
And it's information that you could be using. And I'm not wanting to overcomplicate it. We are somewhat complex beings because we like to think about things and talk it all out and sort it all out and explain it all away and but it really is as simple as keep it simple, Smartypants, right? Because we want to overthink it rather than overthink it. This feels good or this doesn't. How can I feel better?
What can we do about it?
Yeah.
Right.
Period.
Okay, I don't feel good. All right, what can I do about it? Where is really the true empowerment?
Right.
Within us.
Within us. And it's not always about taking an action to fire somebody if you're an employer, or to break up with your spouse or whatever, kicking the dog out. It really, sure, maybe that would temporarily make you feel better, but in the meantime, you have taken an action from a place of not feeling good. And so I always encourage anyone to identify how they're feeling and find a way to feel better first and get to clarity. You spoke earlier about clarity. Well, clarity doesn't come. There's a bit of clarity along the way, like maybe
aha moments,
or I'm angry. So my clarity is that I just want to stop contributing to that thing because I'm angry.
Right.
But that's not really what I want. That's a reaction. So to recognize that when you're in the lower vibrations, they are lower vibrations of those emotions that don't feel good. That's not the time to be making any big decisions about anything. You want to find a way to soothe yourself. And that's not to come to feeling, you don't have to feel 100% better. It's just recognizing that you have less resistance, coming to a place of less resistance, so that you can then open yourself to clarity, to thoughts that would lead you in the direction of where you want to go, or solutions, or maybe even creativity, or you come to a place of laughing about what it was, right? So and when you do get cut off in traffic by somebody, again, what mood was I in when I got cut off? Self-reflection. What mood was I in? Oh yeah, I was in a hurry. was cranky, or I expect people to cut me off in traffic. You see, then if you do, meaning I have an experience of people cutting me off in traffic, I believe I've had the experience that people cut me off in traffic almost every time I go out. Guess what your point of attraction is?
Yes.
So
Energy begets
why
energy, right? Put out the right energy.
why be blaming anyone? It's not about self-blame, it's taking ownership, it's taking the credit, because when you recognize that, oh yeah, that is a perfect match to me, then you don't have to blame, and now you can do something about it. Do I really want to keep believing that this is what happens to me? What kind of story am I telling
Yes.
to myself about myself or about others? There's all kinds of little tools that we can put in a tool belt to help sort those things out.
Yeah,
But it is,
I live on the Vancouver Island, and my daughter's, I'm in Victoria, she's in Nanaimo, and I have a new grandson, so I'm down there a lot. And I have to go through the Malahat, and I don't know if you know the Malahat, you know BC, but it's a kind of a tricky little road. It's higher elevation. It goes from double to single and slow traffic. And recently with these BC floods, part of the road, disintegrated, and they had to rebuild it. And it, in people were getting mad at the people rebuilding the road, and it's like, duh, And when I went down last, it was like, oh, but the road, are you feeling safe? And I said, it's perfectly all right. It's perfectly all right. I know I'm going to be perfectly safe. Everything is fine. And all happened is the section that they were building, we had to slow down. It was single lane traffic, and very slow going through it, and everything was fine. And I think if we go into everything believing that it's going to be disastrous, we're going to invite the disaster. And if we go into everything and that it's going to be fine, but a hiccup happens along the way, this wasn't a personal attack on me. It was just circumstances. And if we look at that this is a circumstance, this is something that's happened, how am I going to deal with it? How am I going to feel about it? Well, anger is not going to contribute anything. And it's like, maybe it's an opportunity to talk with other drivers while we're being stuck, getting to know other people, or can I help somebody in the state of a car accident? It's that, how can we be proactive during this time period instead of feeling anger and wanting someone to blame or shame or judge? It's like, lighten up.
and a way to do that really is by making the best of it.
Yes.
Making the best of the worst of it, and making the best of the best of it.
Yes.
Because when you decide to do that, it doesn't mean that you're standing in a condition that you love. And it doesn't mean that you're settling by doing that.
Right.
I had a conversation last week with a client of mine where we were discussing making the best of it and also feeling satisfied with where we are. And sometimes the understanding is that, well, if I get happy with where I am, or if I make the best of where I am, or if I get satisfied with where I am, this isn't all I want. I don't like this situation, or I want improvement, or I want better. And there's a misconception that if I do feel satisfied with where I am, or if I do make the best of it, even if it's not really fully what I want, that's going to prevent me from having an improved condition, or that's going to have me rendezvousing with more situations that I don't like. And that is the complete opposite. Because when you're making the worst of it, in those moments when you're making the worst of it, you are repelling what your desire is, really, because your vibration is not a match to what you want, to your desire. And you can feel it in your negative emotion. And so it's really important to understand that when you make the best of it, again, it doesn't mean that the conditions are ideal, or that you will be settling. It means I'm going to take my powerful now, and I'm going to choose my mood and attitude about it, because I care. Number one, I care about myself. Really, this work is about self-care, isn't it? And taking charge and agency over that. And because I know that feels better, and not only does that feel better, but I can feel that I'm also not repelling what I want the improvements to be.
Yes.
And guess what? You have a better time along the way. If you're making the worst of it, you're having a worse time. if you're making the best of even the worst of it, you can find some humor. You can soothe yourself by saying, this too shall pass, or this won't last forever, or
what am I here to learn from it?
There's always something to learn. And that's something else that's lovely to touch on, actually, is there's a thought form out there that says, I'm here as a human being to be taught lessons and to learn lessons. And my belief is that, because I don't want to be opposing someone else's beliefs here, my belief is that we're not here to learn lessons, and we're not here to be taught lessons. Will you learn? Absolutely. Is there something to discover? Absolutely. And so there are no lifelong lessons assigned to you outside of you. You are the one evoking those life experiences and attracting those life experiences. And is there something you can learn and discover? Absolutely.
And what do you do with it? That's the point.
And what do you do with it? What do you do with it? And simply talking about how it came about or what you learned. Oh, I had this big aha moment. Great, that's awesome. But then what are you going to do about it? How is it going to affect how you think and feel and perceive moving forward?
Did it pivot you? Was it just a light bulb moment, and you're now stuck talking about the light bulb moment instead of taking the light bulb moment and doing something with it? Right? So it's like everything that happens to us is happening to us for a reason, or is an invitation of an experience that we are meant to have. And again, is what are we going to do with it? I'm always drawing the analogies that we're all an instrument. Once we discover what our instrument is, we learn how to play it, and we find an orchestra to join. And in that orchestra, we're going to play many beautiful pieces of music where maybe you're going to be the soloist, or somebody else is going to be the soloist, or you're just going to work together. But it is, what's your instrument? Because that's your instrument to play, right? And it's when you learn how to play it, you are living in that meaningful purpose and that harmony of self. And now you can share that self in service to others. But it's that beautiful gift of what you are. And our self-discovery is, what am I here to learn? What am I meant to do with it? How am I meant to contribute to life here on this planet with this beautiful instrument? And the more we're open to receiving and discovering who we are, how to play the next number, I think the more exciting life is, because we're always in discovery. We're not limitless. We're limited when we're limitless. And there's always more that we can discover about ourselves, things that we can do, our abilities. And it's exciting if we decide to go down that road.
And to touch on a few things that you said, I don't think that we're meant to do anything. I don't think that there's a predestiny for us. It truly is. We are the creators of our own realities. And so do with it what you want. And follow your guidance, follow your internal compass.
Yes.
And another word that you used was harmony. Well, again, it's about that harmony between you and your soul. And you feel that resonance when you're on your path, if you will. You're never off your path, but more aligned with your path when you feel that positive emotion. And so there is no reality that happens to you. It's always happening from you.
Right. And the more you're immersed in your reality, the more you're going to exude that essence of who you are. And the more you're going to actually attract people because of that essence. Attract people of the same essence, or people who see that essence and are, feeling that experience of you, and maybe you're igniting it inside of them. But it's stepping into our beautiful essence in that discovery of, what are we here for? What are we here to do? What is our next adventure? I think one of the problems I see in the world is that people, again, are living on the outside in of the expectations that society has put on them, and it limits them. You have got to be this, you have got to be that. A, who decided that, right? And B, never limit yourself, because you have no idea at any time in life, through any kind of strife or triumph, or at any age, to discover something new about yourself, another beautiful instrument that you never knew you could play. And it's exciting if we live in a more adventurous and wondrous state of mind, state of being.
And how do you get there? Well, you don't get there all of a sudden
No.
if you're not used to being there. You don't
Right.
get there all of a sudden if you're used to not feeling so good. And it really is about that practiced application of choosing to think something that feels better, choosing a subject that feels better. Because once you get in the habit of doing that and not hanging around in the negative emotions so much, then you do start being more true to who you are. That essence radiates, and then your life just reflects that essence to you. And another point also is that when you are having a moment, whenever you feel negative emotion, you can know for sure that you're bumping into a limiting belief, a belief that is limiting you, that is opposing something that you want. So any limiting belief is only about asking yourself, really, is there something that else that I could believe? Is there something else that I could believe that feels better? And then starting to practice that. Well, if I did believe that belief that feels better, what kind of things would I think that align with that? What kind of things could I do if I believe that? What kind of things how would I feel about myself? And that's how you start to integrate those aha moments into a real life application, because it's great to think, well, that expectation I've just lived into all of these years, but it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel true to me. It just doesn't feel good. Then you've got to integrate it, to do something about it. It really is about asking yourself a follow-up question. Well, what other belief could I believe here that feels better to me? And not something so big that you can't believe it. You want to keep incrementally. I say in my book that, if you're standing on one side of the stream and it's a 20-foot wide stream and you want to get over to the other side, you wouldn't stand on the left-hand side and try to jump over to the right in one leap.
Right.
That you'll fall face flat.
Right.
Do a face plant. But if you wanted to get to the other side, perhaps you could think about going over to the edge of the stream, or maybe in the stream itself, and grabbing some stones and putting them across the stream as stepping stones, so you can get one from one side to the other. And so that's what I'd like your listeners to also grasp in this conversation, is that it is practical. It's not just airy fairy woo woo stuff. There is a practical application to all of this, to apply the emotional journey, to apply the emotional integration and expansion. And so you can put a stepping stone and a stepping stone and a stepping stone across the stream, and eventually you get there. Well, what are those stepping stones? It's one thought that feels slightly better than the one you just thought.
Right.
Or it's an idea. It's a vision.
Different what if, isn't it? Instead of,
a different
what if I think, it's like, what if I tried this? Change the tone. Right? Change the entire tone of it. Because
or what other belief can I believe that feels better? So you see, that's another one. That's another example of that's a stepping stone. Yes. It moved you closer to that other side of the stream, and the other side of the stream being in the context of this conversation, being where you want to be, having more of what you want, feeling better, experiencing more out of life that you want. But again, no one is assigning you a purpose or a meaning or a reason or an intention. There's nothing that you're here to do, that you're supposed to do or should do or have to do or need to do. Everything that you are here to experience is for you to discover, is for you to create, is for you to decide if you want a purpose, air quotes here, a purpose, that will be self-assigned. No one is telling you from the big sky up there what you need. You're born and you need to do this. This is all you and your own evolution and expansion, and you're in charge of it.
And some people are lucky enough from children, I am driven, this drives me, this is my calling, and they're lucky enough to have that, because this is something that comes from within them already. And we have a lot of beautiful children that are out there doing that. We as adults have still got to unravel some of the other conditions that have been placed upon us, or that we've accepted, and unravel that to actually say, no, it is up to me what my life is and whom I serve and everything else, my journey. And, the thing about the stones, I always say that every time you have an obstacle and you find a way over it, you now have knowledge in your backpack. And next time you come across another obstacle, that worked back then. I wonder if it will work here. You have that knowledge that you can apply to other situations as you go. And that's the beautiful thing about gathering wisdom and knowledge as you go. You will use it time and time again in different situations.
You certainly can. And it's really good if you use it to your advantage, right? To boost your confidence, to remember the time that you figured that out, or to remember the time that you made it through whatever
Exactly.
It was, or to remember the time that you offered a brilliant suggestion or idea. It really is, I do this with my daughter, where I have her, I ask her, what are 3 things that you like about yourself or that you appreciate about yourself? And I only ask for 3 things because otherwise it's too big of a question for her. Yes. And at such a young age already, she has a hard time coming up with things that she likes about herself. So again, while that seems like it's sort of off topic here, perhaps a little bit, I do feel like we are in a time, maybe it's always been this way, but liking yourself and finding positive aspects about yourself, finding things that you like about yourself, tends to be one of the hardest things that people can do. And yet you are your own point of attraction. So I want to emphasize how important that is. It's sometimes easier to admire and like things about other people, and then perhaps then you can use that as an example to find things about yourself. When it really is, if your listeners could walk away with one thing only today, is to start practicing finding things that they like or appreciate or love or enjoy or adore or embrace, want to about themselves, positive aspects about themselves, because that it's just super important to your own point of attraction. It's super important to your essence and your harmony with your soul, because your soul never thinks badly of you. There's never a negative thought happening about you. And when you think a negative thought about you, that's why it hurts. That's why it hurts. And it's not true.
Yeah, live life unapologetically. Is you don't have to keep saying sorry to self.
As Canadians tend to do.
Yes, I'm sorry. We're sorry for saying I'm sorry. We again, I think we do that because again we feel that we don't live up to societal's expectation. And if we just start looking at the fact, I don't have to
habit.
It's a habit.
Right?
A habit.
We've
very
seen
much
other people.
Yeah, exactly. It's an environmental thing. We see everybody else doing a societal thing, and it's like we're not good enough unless. And it's like, if we could go through life and go, I am good enough for just being me. Right. I am good enough. I am unique. Yes, it is. And I've battled with this through my life because, I'm 67 and I grew up with, you've got to be. And I just found it so hard to fit into those molds because those molds didn't fit me. Right. And it was a long journey for me to finding the confidence enough to be me unapologetically and realize that who I am, what I have to contribute counts. And it's going to count to the people who are going to see it and feel it, not to the people who aren't. And if you stop trying to serve everybody, right, and just serve the people that see you and feel you and benefit from you, then there you are contributing. But this thing is like, I've got to be what everybody wants, is only going to let you down.
Well, and also to that point, it really messes up your vibe.
Yes.
It adds noise into the equation, so that then when you're considering someone else's opinion of you or following someone else's rule, again, I'm not encouraging rule breaking as in play the game of football, right? As in play the game of football and don't bother following the rules. Understand the rules of the game and decide whether you want to play or not.
Yes.
Right. Understand
what
other people
game?
believe. Yeah. Is this your game? And understand what other people believe and what perhaps your parents and the generations before you have sort of believed, and through osmosis, you've adapted to and adopted those beliefs. But you can ask yourself, do I want to keep believing that? Is that
Right.
something that I want to have as an expectation of myself? Do I want to be that which I'm perceiving they are expecting of me? Again, it's that evolution, and you don't have to go back and unravel it all. You can keep making decisions along. So point number 2, self-love, finding ways to appreciate yourself. Point number 2, sorry, would be, very good.
Yes.
would be, that's funny. There I go. Canadian in me came out. Point number 2 would be to keep asking yourself what you want. What do I want? 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 Because when you get in the habit of that, then you'll spend way less time in observing what you don't want. It doesn't mean that you're ignoring a reality that's happening around you. You might see something you don't want. You don't want to be get caught in a traffic jam or anything like that. But when you're there, okay, what do I want? I want easy travel. I want to have fun. I want to be joyful. I want to enjoy myself. I want things to go well for me. I want to enjoy my surroundings. Like when you get focused on that, now you've forgotten about the stupid traffic jam and you're having a grand old time thinking about what you want. You can shift your energy in that space of time.
Yes. Yeah.
You just can.
I mean, that, as they call it, changing the channel. It's you don't like heavy rock. Why are you listening to it? Change it to, something else that that really does feed you, that you can sing along to, that it uplifts you. And, a lot of people have said to me, well, my heart has been so hurt and I don't know how to open it up again. And I say, go and be amongst children. Go and be amongst puppy dogs at a park. Go and walk in nature with the trees rustling, the leaves dancing and the water against the shore. It will open up your heart. It can't help but open up your heart because it has a way of just going in there and kind of squeezing itself into your heart and bringing out that smile. And it makes you feel good. Once you've got that feeling of this feels good and I want more of it, you're going to be more wired to wanting to do more things that are going to make you feel good. And when you're feeling good, you're going to do good.
Right. Get addicted to feeling good.
Yes.
Right. And
that's
and
a good addiction to have.
That's a really good addiction to have. And again, there are nuances in there, certainly, but
not at the expense of others or yourself, right?
Right.
Get you that.
When you're not thinking about what's bothering you, you're not bothered. I mean, simple. Fact. Yes. As simple as it can be. When you're not thinking about what's bothering you.
Oh, I have a sore. Keep rubbing it. What's going to happen? It's going to get worse.
Yeah. So so how the communication happens is your soul understands and knows everything that you want, understands the desire that is birthed out of the chaos, out of having a moment or moments that are unwanted. And you really don't have to spend any more time on it than that. We as human beings think that we need to dig and scrub and figure out and fix and identify and point and all of those things. And it really can be as simple as in getting in the habit of recognize there's something I don't want, asking myself, what do I want out of this for myself? How do I want to feel? And tuning into that, changing the radio station, changing the frequency to that, because the other radio station, while it's still available to me, right? I don't have to stay on it any more than I have to stay on, to your point, stay on the rock channel if I prefer, I don't know,
soul,
whatever. Soul would be a good one in this case with this conversation.
That there's a lot of business people that I've interviewed, CEOs, top Fortune 500, top of their game. And they realized they had become kind of slaves to that position. Yes, they were making money. Where did they have time to spend it? They didn't have time to see their family. They didn't have time to enjoy anything. And they lost the enjoyment of where they were. And very often the cosmic 2x4 came along and kind of redirected them. And then they found a more meaningful and abundant life doing something they loved. You work with a lot of, people in various levels, but how many have you come across of the people that thought that that would make them happy, to realize they were living a disconnect life, and that realization that they weren't living a collective life?
Well, many of them that come to me have already achieved success on the outside.
Yeah.
Right. And while they have been seekers, and they're in different positions, but they could be in legacy families, or in CEO roles, or in all kinds of different roles here. But they've come to understand that they can create. They've come to understand that they are pretty good at making stuff happen. And there's a recognition somewhere along the way that they are already spiritually inclined, because usually they're seekers of some kind.
Yes.
But there's a recognition along the way that that is not the key to happiness. But we can't also make manifestations bad, because I think sometimes that gets sort of incorporated into a conversation where we are all manifesting geniuses, right? And manifestations are spiritual actualization. And to make our desires for things or situations or conditions or wrong, I think, is a misinterpretation of who we are as a complete spirit and embodied in a physical human being perspective. And so when people realize that anything that I want, or anything that I've achieved so far, or anything that I want to achieve yet, is always, always, always because I associate that when I have that, when I do that, or when I don't have that, I will fill in the blank. I will feel better. I will feel successful. I will feel accomplished. I will feel happy. Finally, I will be acknowledged. I will feel like I'm at the top. Anything that you want is really because of how you think you will feel once you have it. So again, encouraging to people that identify what you think that will feel like if you were actualizing it right now, and feel like that as much as you possibly can on your way to it. Because guess what? Everything you want is actually inevitable. Most of us don't think that. Most of us think, yeah, well, maybe that, but not that. That's not possible. And that's the way the universe is set up, is that anything you want is probable. It's inevitable. But what stands in the way of you actualizing it, living it, are your beliefs and expectations and thoughts along the way. So why not then come to this place of understanding that if what I want is inevitable, how about I just keep going along with it? How about I just keep pointing myself in the direction of it? How about I just keep playing along with it? How about I stop getting in the way so much and instead keep expecting positively, telling stories to myself, telling the stories of what I want to myself, boosting myself up, changing. And why not focus there? Because life is not meant to be lived miserably and then you die.
Right. I mean, we've been sold that bill of goods for a long time. Life is about struggle. It's about suffering. And it's like,
does that feel good? Does that feel good?
No, because it feels like, do I want to get out of bed?
Right. And you're not here. Like, if you want to change the world, please have at it. I work with world-changing people all the time. That is their desire. That's what they want to bring into the world. But you don't have to be anything more important than just you, because you are incredibly important just as you are. You don't have to be serving other people. You don't have to be
but
inventing
you are serving
the
other
next
people, though, that way, because inspiration begets invitation. And when you are inspiring,
you are
inviting other people.
Correct. Yeah. When you feel good, you are a demonstration of alignment, and you can't help but help people feel good who are around you when you're looking at them and you're viewing them from the eyes of your soul with pure love. So how can they not feel good? Anyway, if you want to be up to big things, go for it. But there's this idea we've talked about a lot here today, haven't we? There's this idea that we must find our purpose in life. Well, truly the only purpose you have, that you intended to have, is to to feel good, to feel that connection and help that navigate you through your life, and then keep deciding what you want and go for it and expect it.
Well, the thing is, if you love life and you have love of self and you get up every day loving what you're doing, that love is going to exude out. It is going to be invitational. It is going to reach other people. It's going to ignite something inside of them. It also, in whatever line of work you're in, going to be what other people, I want to work with this person. I want to be around this person. This person makes me feel good because they're igniting something within myself. They're showing me how to feel. They're in alignment.
Yes.
And that's why I say inspiration begets invitation, because when you are that inspiration to other people, it is an invitation for them to start looking at themselves. You know, it's when Harry met Sally, I'll have what she's having. Right.
Right.
Yeah. So, you know, when we see these people and whatever they're calling, whatever, you know, very often we see people, we may not be aligned with what they're doing, but we're so inspired with who they are because they're so true to themselves and what they believe in, and the whole essence of who they are resonates out and uplifts us. And I think that's the essence of every single one of us. If we can ignite it, if we can become it, if we just decide to be it, we'll realize that is enough.
It is. It is. And that in and of itself is satisfying and fulfilling to you as an individual.
Yes.
And then from that place, then you feel inspired to do things. You feel inspired to create whatever that might be for you.
And we're all wonderful creations who are incredibly creative.
Correct. Yes, absolutely.
So getting back to practicality here now, how do people get this book? Because this sounds like a wonderful Christmas gift to people, you know, like we're always asking, you know, what else can I do? Or where else can I go? Or what else is there out there for me? And as you said, there's a lot of very successful people out there, but they still haven't felt that connection or that alignment because it's been an outside and their insides are calling. You know, keep it simple. Smartypants, the book. How do people get it? Also, what are you offering and to whom are you offering it in your coaching?
Well, you can go on Amazon and buy the book there. It's really easy. Keep it simple, Smartypants, right there. And in terms of coaching, I offer high-level coaching with executives and legacy family members. And, you know, for lack of a better word, change makers of some sort. They have influence. They have some sort of influence or leadership. And so the basis of the coaching is really understanding the foundations of who you are and the laws of the universe and integrating those, which therefore we address beliefs and the change that happens is those people who apply the things that we talk about are changed for life. Their life improves. Their life is already good, but their life gets even better. They become better leaders. They have better relationships, not only with themselves, but also with others. They become better communicators. They become more compassionate leaders, not in terms of resonating where people are, but leading other people from that place of compassion for themselves. And so, yeah, my clients are amazing, extraordinary human beings who do want more and who do care about feeling good, and certainly come to care about feeling good way more once we start coaching together. And the results are really exponential. They're magnificent results in the lives that they live. It's so inspiring to see them.
Well, for a lot of people that are out there being the world changers, they can get caught up sometimes feeling, you know, whatever I do, it never feels enough. And then they start feeling let down within themselves. I haven't done enough. And it's like, you've done extraordinary things. Focus on what you have done. And just keep on doing what you have done because you believe in it, because it's coming from you. We cannot be the answer to everything in the world. We can't serve everyone in the world. But the more you believe in who you are and why you're doing it, and that essence of you coming out, the more expansion will be in what your chosen field is. But I know for a lot of people it is like, but is it enough? And it's like, It's enough to the people that you're having an effect on, right?
And really that, you know, it's got to be enough, because
Yeah.
that's what it is. That's where you
Yes.
are now. That
Yes.
doesn't mean that there's not more coming, but
Right.
it really is. If I was coaching someone on that, I would be saying the thing is not to figure out what else you can do. The thing right now is to soothe that it's not enough feeling.
Yes.
Because unless and until you soothe that feeling and feel like, get satisfied with where you are,
Right.
you will constantly be chasing the not enough, and
Mhm.
you will feel dissatisfied, and that's really not getting you at all where you want. You'll be taking action and not really achieving the results that you are looking for, and along the way not feeling very satisfied, because to live in that place of it's never enough, it's never enough, it's never enough, your reality is going to keep reflecting that to you.
Yes.
So
and trickle down into everything that you do.
You've got to change how you feel.
Yeah.
You've got to change. It starts with how you feel. It starts with your thoughts, and then how they feel and how you feel, and then doing something about it. So the first thing to do whenever you're bumping into something is, all right, how do I feel? Do I want to keep feeling this way? And how can I feel better?
Before we have a relationship with anyone else, we have to have a good relationship with self.
Yeah, I had someone contradict that and saying that that's not true, and yet I do stand by that. That you must cultivate a relationship with yourself. Otherwise, it's always going to be someone else's fault, and you feel powerless.
Yes.
And you are not powerless. You are fully empowered to live the life you want. It's just what you think about it that keeps you having experiences that are different from what you want.
Right. And, you know, whether you're having an impact on one person's life or a million people's lives, you know, everything counts. Every drop in the ocean counts. And
yeah. And why is it better? Why, like, really,
right.
when you think about it, why is it better? Why are humans so stuck on that?
Numbers.
That, you know, I must impact. I get the desire to be of value. I get the desire to uplift others. I get the desire to empower others. And yet, why? Well, because I would feel, and that's really that's what
validated.
Why? I would feel fill in the blank. And are there do those great things, do everything that you want to. And I think it's always important to understand what is calling you. Are you being driven from negative emotion and resistance and a belief that is not feeling good to you about yourself? Or are you being called toward more of who you are?
I think it's also to let an expectation go. As a comparison here is, I get people say, how many followers do you have? If you don't have 5 or 10,000 followers, I'm not coming on your show. And then I say, that show isn't for you, because I want the people who have an impact on one person.
Yeah.
All right. And if that one person changes, they're going to have a wonderful domino effect on the people around them. So whether it's one, I have absolutely no control whatsoever when these shows go out, who listens to them and the impact it has on them. All my job is to do is put them out there.
Right. Be on your path, do your thing.
Yes.
And let the people who are attracted to you come and listen to you and engage with you and be interested in the things that you're talking about. Absolutely.
Yeah. So if you want good information, you can come to me. You come to Self-Discovery Media, and that wisdom will be here. But what you do with it is up to you. Right. And so that's, I think, a certain point that one has to let go and not try and micromanage or control what happens to what we do. We put it out there. What people do with it is their own choice.
Absolutely. And what you do with it, how you feel about it, and how you navigate that journey is up to you.
Right. We can choose positive living, right? We can ignite the hearts and souls of people around us, but we first got to be ignited. We first got to make choices ourselves.
Yeah, and your soul already is ignited. Your soul is already ignited.
Yeah.
It's ignited. You just
are we tuned into it though?
Exactly. And that's
are we on that channel?
Yes. Right. I've heard people saying, my soul hurts, or my soul was lost, or it's like that's not even close to being true. Your soul is never lost, and your soul is never hurt. Your soul
never alone.
Your soul does not come down and join you when you're feeling bad. You're hurt because you're feeling the separation, the
Disconnect.
the disconnect between you and your soul, because your soul is vibrating at this high vibration and for lack of a better word, feeling love or joy and appreciation.
Yeah.
Right. Always that essence. And so your soul is never hurt. Your soul is never lost. Your soul is always knows where it is and never loses its place. But you might be.
Yes.
You might be.
I mean,
And
it's just a question of how to get back to the right channel.
And it's all, you only feel like you are if you are in a moment perceiving, thinking, feeling in a way that does not match up with how your soul perceives, thinks, and feels. That's again, to keep it simple. That's it.
Well, you talked about compass before. The soul is that compass, and for me, it's that core. And if my core says no to something, it's no, because I know it's not good for me. When my core feels right, then it is let's explore, right? Because I know that is my compass.
Yeah, that's your guidance.
Yeah, exactly. And if I follow it without, dictation, right, or expectation, but just a wonderment and a willingness, I'm going to discover things that are way, way beyond what I could have painted for myself.
Yeah, and I would like to add to what you said with expectation. I think expect things to work out for you.
Yes.
But expect, because your expectation will lay out how it's going to go. But you also have to believe it, because you can expect something that you don't want.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I expect things not to go well for me. Okay, do you want that? No. What do you want? Well, I want fill in the blank. Do you expect it? No. Well, it's not anytime soon that you will have that experience. Then you must raise your expectation to your desires.
Raise your vibration. Yeah. Again, change that channel. It's to the channel as the it's there for you, ready for the taking. And again, it's up to our consciousness of what we do with it. But we can have anything we want. The responsibility then is with what we've got. What do we do with it?
Yeah, and to take the credit and to take ownership, to take the credit, and to keep seeing life as a game, and to keep seeing life as a journey instead of a destination.
Yes.
To keep discovering who you are, because with every thing that you get to choose from, you do get to discover who you are more and more. You do get to discover what your preferences are, what your preferences are not. And what better playground to be on than this beautiful world that we live in, where there's a whole lot to choose from, and a whole lot of opinions, and a whole lot of perspectives and beliefs. And yet you can singularly decide and keep choosing what you want and what you want to believe and what feels better to you, because again, we are all individually creating our own realities in this universe that we are all co-creating in.
Right. Yeah. And the big emphasis is, what do you want?
Yeah.
Do you want to be angry and angst and blame the world for everything? Does it feel good? Or do you prefer that feeling of really where you see the beauty in life? You feel the beauty in life. You become the beauty in life. And the meaningfulness of who you really are in your essence is there for all to see. It is such a more fulfilling place to be. And that doesn't mean we don't get angry. It just means we know how to handle that anger.
Correct.
It doesn't mean we don't get frustrated. We just know what to do with it. We don't get stuck in it. Right? It's that willingness to become unstuck. I don't like this feeling. I've got to change that channel. I've got to do something that makes me feel good and shake this off. Right? Don't let it consume you. It's our choice.
So and see those choices as opportunities.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Even having a bad day, there's a reason for it. And whenever I have a bad day, I think, okay, the universe is just telling me it's take time out for yourself. This is maybe you're meant to have a me day, a loving day, right? So don't what's the universe doing to me? It's not
the universe is never doing anything to you.
It's tapping you on the shoulder now and again. And it's saying,
it's always responding to you. Yeah. Maybe you wanted to take a day off, and maybe you weren't letting yourself have a day off.
Exactly.
Right. And so you decided, well, if I have a bad day, maybe not consciously, maybe you decided if I have a bad day, maybe I'll give myself a day off. So like that gets a little tricky there. But
yes,
the universe is never trying to tell you anything. The universe is always responding to your vibration. And however you allow it in is how you allow it in.
right. You can receive that beautiful wisdom if you open up and allow it in, and then go with it. Go with it. It will always guide you forward. It will always, those beautiful light bulbs, those wonderful feelings of, gosh, I didn't know I could do that, or I could feel this way. And
the more you do that, the easier it gets.
yes,
Like anything that you practice, right? Anything that, if you practice feeling better, if you practice changing your thoughts, if you practice asking yourself what else you'd rather believe, if you practice doing that, it becomes a habit, and it takes over the other habits. So you don't, you don't have to go and identify all of your bad habits. Your habits, your beliefs are showing themselves to you every single day throughout the day. So you have plenty of opportunities to make new decisions about things.
Right.
And that again is in your charge.
Well, it's going back to the instrument. The more you learn to play your instrument, which chord is, oh, no, that one's off. I'm not going to play that one again. The more you become in tuned with your instrument, and the more your instrument, can play and really resonate out there and explore what other tunes can it play. So it's becoming in tuned with oneself.
Yeah, for sure.
This has been utterly delightful. Could carry on talking to you forever, but we have to go. And so please tell us the name of your site and how people can reach you.
Very easy. I'm consistent everywhere. Across the social media boards, it's Christine Meyer Coaching. And then my website is christinemeyercoaching.com. So it's really easy to find me. And again, my book can be found on Amazon. And it really is about keeping it simple, Smartypants, so that you can live a life that is aligned and happy and joyful and resonant with who you really are, so that you can live your best life.
Which is what we want you to do. So for people who are just listening, it's Christine Meyer, Meyer, coaching.com. And again, she's on the social medias, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook. Reach out to her. This is a great book to gift to yourself, to gift to others. We all need a little help along the line. Sometimes just that gentle nudge, nudge, wink, wink, get back in alignment, and it's that other perspective from the outside that helps us reflect from the inside. It's not like, do it like this. It is these are your options. And with that, you go, okay, if I practice that, or if I just change the way I think this, or the way I feel that, you start becoming more aligned and more in tune with really who you really are.
And it really is about you listening to your own guidance.
Yes.
That's why there are no rules per se. You do create your own path. Yeah. So when you learn to understand how to interpret those signals, then you can create more of what you want.
Right. When you're painting a canvas of your desires, you're not going to go and put the devil in there. It's like, paint the meadow you want, right? It's up to you. The paintbrush is in your hand.
Yeah.
But what is seen is what is going to come to you. So make sure it's a canvas that reflects what you want.
Yeah. And keep adjusting.
Yeah. Keep adjusting. Absolutely. Life isn't about stagnancy. When you talk about consistency, it's just keeping things on a lovely, even flow, right? Which will allow it to grow. And we don't want to become stagnant in something, because that's when we get stuck. So fluidity is really, really important. Thank you so much for sharing with us here today.
Thank you for having me. It was really fun to have this conversation. I always love talking about all of this stuff.
Oh, well, yes. I mean, it benefits so many people who are on that journey, whatever level they're at.
Yeah.
It is like, food for thought. It's like, I didn't see it that way. And if we could just help you see something from a different way, or just one practice that you've learned from here today that can pivot you, that can start seeding those possibilities for tomorrow, then that's what it's all about, isn't it?
So thank you very much.
Thank you. And to everyone else out there, remember, it makes a good Christmas gift. If you're hearing this show down the road and it's not Christmas, it just makes a great gift. First to yourself and then on to everyone else. All right. Because when you get inspired by a book, you want everyone else to read it too. So until next time, folks, be well. Bye for now. We hope that you enjoyed the show. You will hear many shows here on selfdiscoverymedia.com. We have new shows for you out every week. Just find them on our podcast or What's New. If you feel that you have something to share that makes a difference in the lives of others, or you too feel that you could be a host, please contact me at info@selfdiscoverymedia.com and we will be glad to speak with you. Have a wonderful day.